Welcome back. This is still the breakfast show right here on Business Day Television. And of course, it's time for us to see what's trending on social media, see how Nigerians are reacting to some of the stories trending on social media. But one of the things trending this morning is Valentine Onyeka's birthday. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Mr. Valley.
Look at me, I'm almost blushing.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, they say extra day, extra year is what celebrates. But again, you celebrate and you make sure that it radiates round. Even in the midst of the economy, we still find time to celebrate. So it's worth it. So thank God for another year.
Yes.
Another year.
A new year. How are you feeling? What are your hopes and aspirations for this year?
A better country. But first and foremost, I'm grateful for life. More importantly, I'm also grateful for the fact that I can have this conversation with you. Fantastic anchor that you are. And my other uncles too, great people. And there's no better place I would love to be if not Business Day Television.
Woo!
So that alone is worth celebrating.
Yeah.
And you have great people around you, give you something to smile and rush to come to work for. You know what they say, when your work becomes something that you love to do, you enjoy it. You know, so it's a lot to celebrate for. And then more importantly, I just want to thank God for air. That we can breathe and be alive. So that alone is what it is. The money can come later.
The money can come later, right? Aside from you, which is trending, you're going to be trending all day, probably even all month. Let's see some of the other things trending this morning. We begin in Kano State, where hundreds of Islamic groups have taken to the streets in protest against United States President Donald Trump's recent comments on Nigeria's security crisis. Now, the protesters marched through major roads, accusing Trump of spreading false claims of Christian genocide and attempting to interfere in the country's affairs. They held placards reading, "There is no Christian genocide in Nigeria, and America wants to control our resources." This comes after Trump listed Nigeria as a country of particular concern and also threatened United States military action if the killings of Christians continued. That's what's trending from Kano State today. Of course, aside from Valentine trending, but let's see some of the reactions on social media and see how Nigerians are reacting to this story emerging from Kano State. I do hope that they understand why they're protesting. One Nama says, "Is this not the best time for the Christians in the Middle Belt to pour into the streets and protest? Or are they waiting for Southeast to do it for them?" That's a question, a key question from Sochima. Do we have more conversations there? Michael Cornfield says, "So when terrorists are turning your villages into graveyards, killing more Muslims, they were all silent. But now that Trump sneezed, suddenly they know how to protest. Priorities upside down, protecting terrorists before protecting your own people." Do we have more reactions to this story? King Eze says, "While this may look stupid, it's actually a very effective tactic to show people that the focals are against foreign interference. The United States of America will hate this action, but it will make them rethink the ideas of boots on the ground. Not having the support of the locals means endangering the lives of troops, whether foreign or domestic." Do we have more reactions to this conversation? Mr. Incredible says, "Northern Nigeria has clearly developed a full-fledged kidnapping ecosystem and economy, which explains why the crisis has endured for so long. From the terrorist videos, it's evident that many rural communities in the north are profiting from this dark trade, a disturbing reflection of years of government failure. In the end, it all comes back to one thing: corruption."
Well, you know, as much as it's supposed to be a fantastic day for me and people around me, I would still say, for what it's worth, it's not the best time to put your foot forward and celebrate when Nigeria is going through this turmoil. Again, it is what it is. These are the stories we have in front of us. So let us, bisect it and talk about it. So for the fact that we can have people come on the street, because again, we might say the northerners, they might be wearing those traditional clothes, doesn't necessarily mean they're from that area, because we've understood that anyone can use protesters to get what they want. So let's assume that the people there are from the north, protesting against what Trump has said. So this is a two-edged sword thing, really. one end says that, look, it's good that they can protest, mean to say that we're not just keeping quiet and then a foreign entity comes to, threaten Nigeria. We have sovereignty. So it's good that we can see some people protest. Let's look at it from the lighter side, from a point where it is our right to protest. Okay? Since our military will not say anything because they're waiting for the commander-in-chief to give, instructions on what to do, which is normal. However, on the other end, it is also very unfortunate to see that we can have people from that area who have been experiencing this kind of turmoil for a while now. Kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, killing of people, to now say that, look, there isn't any, quote unquote, genocide going on. Now, I'm not saying there is genocide going on, but for what is worth, we know there are killings going on. Whether it is Christians or Muslims being killed, there are killings going on. I was hoping that the protest, right, could have been directed to the fact that, look, Donald Trump, why not ask Nigeria, right, to ask you for help? Let's start from that angle. Let the protest be, Donald Trump, ask Nigeria whether we need your help first. So to do that means that they would trail Donald Trump and his people back to what they're supposed to have done, which is, look, Nigeria, do you need our military help? Come out openly. Let the world know that you are asking us to ask you for help. In other words, you are bringing your help forward first. It shouldn't be a case of you saying, look, we must come there whether or not to like it by force. No. Remember, the rights, the other person that contributed, he said, if the locals don't want to, be difficult for you to succeed. Because the same locals that will help you fish out those people, right, might shield them and then create a far more difficult, environment for you to even thrive.
Right.
That's the fact. They can lure you into an area where they can finish you up because the locals know, the look and cranny of the area. It is difficult to come to someone's land and hope that you will succeed without insiders. But having said so, again, like I said, the two-edged sword here. The question now is, someone definitely is sponsoring that protest. Who exactly is? And for what reason? To what end? If they're doing it because they're afraid that there's a big tendency that their so-called ecosystem, whether or not it is favorable from the good angle or the bad angle, whether or not it's a lucrative business, they're doing, or they are profiting from the kidnapping thing going on, whatever it is, definitely that area will experience some low turnout of business and, of course, downtime of business if truly boots are brought on ground by the US. However, and this is just analysis from a different angle. However, this protest is also important. It sends a message to the international world. We are not a pushover, right? And this is just the beginning, right? If, of course, federal government is not going to stop the protest because it is in their favor, the way it is. It will help them save face. We know that military, we're not as big as the United States. We know that we cannot, say, look, what is what, have a standoff. No. But I would want to go to that direction. But what's more important is this, is that people get to hear from us. Now they are protesting, saying that there's no genocide of Christians going on. Can we also see some important and smart people having meetings with the current chairman of Nigeria, Christian Association of Nigeria? Let's have some proper meetings, televise these things, and then show to the world. If we can do that, we could have been able to mitigate what is coming, if at all to come.
Right. Our next conversation this morning, I hear you and everything you've said. If we dwell on that conversation, we'll probably dwell on it. We'll probably go on and on and on. But let's move on now to the former Christian Association of Nigeria's president, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, who has publicly supported Trump's warning. In an interview, he said that the United States president's comments should serve as a wake-up call for Nigerian leaders who, according to him, have failed to stop ongoing attacks on Christian communities. He described the killings in Plateau, Benue, and southern Kaduna as deliberate and called it nothing short of genocide. Ayokunle accused the government of being lazy and complicit, saying that officials are more focused on the 2027 elections than on saving lives. Ayokunle insisted that peace, no matter who brings it, is better than silence while citizens are being slaughtered. We'll see some of the reactions on social media to Ayokunle, Mr. Ayokunle's remark, but I do see where it's coming from, really. And I think that, religious organizations, religious leaders must not keep, well, it's dicey, really, because I want to say must not keep quiet, but they're also the people that, how they say silence can be complicit. And sometimes it seems like, okay, then when you speak, it's like guns blazing at you as a religious leader, and you are just giving your own thoughts and whatnot. So it's a very delicate.
I think as delicate as it is, it's important that we nip it at the bud before it goes out of hand. I don't think it is the proper thing for the former Khan guy, right, who is, to have said what he said, saying, oh, he's supporting Donald Trump. Remember this. You see, in interest, there's what we call national interest. In the interest of the country, right, it's important that the international world see us as one voice. It's very important. If they smell or they perceive any division, they will bank on it. Yes, like I said before, nobody wants to see killings. We don't want killings to stop, right? Come from an angle where I understand what it's like to lose someone. I'm saying, look, let the killing stop. We're all saying that we don't want killings any longer, right? The federal government should do what they can to stop it. That is the fact. But for the former Khan chairman, right, to now come out and say he supports what Donald Trump is saying, that is a bad signal. I will explain. It will give room for, religious division one way or the other. Because, truth be told, what about those who have businesses in those areas that they know that their businesses will not thrive anymore? Those ones who are even Christians, right? If the international world is saying, okay, at least now we see someone who is willing to accept us to come in, put on ground against federal government's policy. That's bad. That sends a wrong message.
Really?
It does. So, and this is me now not trying to put my emotions first. Yes, I'm a Christian, but I'm looking at national security first. I'm looking at the national interest first, in the interest of the nation first, because if you don't have a nation, right, we don't have an economy. We don't have an economy, people will suffer. So those people who are busy fanning the flames of war, come in, this, that, they've never been in crisis and war before. People think that, look, when there's war, you still go to your work and you go for your business. Look, businesses will shut down, right? Pockets of criminals will use that opportunity to be breaking into homes. There'll be anarchy. And then, even worse, is that there'll be hunger. So tell me now, who's going to lose? Who's going to lose? So I think statements like that should not come out of a former Khan chairman. I should expect him to say things like, look, Donald Trump, we understand, your concern about stopping the killings of Christians. Also, let's not be less sensitive about the Muslims also that have been killed. Let him come out from a diplomatic angle to now say, Donald Trump will support you if you understand that it's not just Christian, but Muslims also being killed and that people are dying. We don't want people to die any longer.
But let's see some of the reactions on social media and see what Nigerians are saying with respect to what the former president of Khan has to say. Daniel Ikwagu says he just found his voice. While he was Khan president, thousands got kidnapped. We didn't hear him then.
What?
Do we have more reactions to this story on social media? Just like you said, it did make a point. Aliyu Musa says, their focus is only elections, stealing, and corruption. Trump can just sanction them individually. Work with well-meaning Nigerians for security support. Do we have more reactions to this conversation? Blackthorn says, when leaders spend more time planning their next victory than fixing the present, the country pays the price. People are tired of being statistics for someone else's ambition. If the government put half as much energy into saving lives as they do into election strategy, Nigeria would look very different. Just 2 years into the administration and the next 2 years where we've been campaigning. It seems like now they're more focused on 2027 elections. But let me see that last remark from Prince. Prince says it's even more serious. Prioritizing political ambitions over citizens' lives is not just neglect, it's moral failure. Nigeria's leaders should be judged by how they protect and serve their people, and not by election strategies. I completely agree with this one, because if you see the political shenanigans going on right now, you just see that these people are more concerned about retaining a seat in power, retaining the securing their seats, as against even the well-being of Nigerians, which are dying in numbers on a day-to-day basis. It seems like that doesn't matter. Maybe that's secondary, and then the political ambition is primary.
I mean, truth be told, like we always say, look, all lives are precious. If, again, you never know what's happening within that whole political sector if you're not there. You don't know what's happening within the corridor of power if you're not there. So the seat of the CNC, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his seat, you will never know how hot it is or how cool unless you are there. There are a lot of other angles that you who, put this way, so that you are not in that sector, you may not understand. However, I believe that amongst everything, lives of Nigerians and livelihood of Nigerians should come first. And like I said before, no country wants to lose face. And you know, Nigeria, we're a very big nation, 200 plus million people. We're a big nation. We've earned our mark internationally. So I understand if our president doesn't want to lose face by conceding to Donald Trump, or, you know, or also, I also understand other different aspects too, which is normal. Nobody wants to, it's like you saying you are the head of your family. Someone comes from outside, come and threaten you, right? You want to let your family members and your wife and your children know, look, I've got this. I'm in charge of this. So in some words, I understand his own angle too, which also makes sense. Because if you lose face as the president, the country is doomed. So he has to be strong, because these are trying times. However, in being strong too, there are other areas where we need to also look at to make sure these are angles that we can use to get back, you know, public what's called support, public, you know, gain back public trust internationally too. And this for me, this creates an opportunity. But like I said, in knowing who Donald Trump is, he comes the way it is. He thinks about it, he says it. Then later night thinks about the strategy to back up his word, right? In order not to lose face for him too. But if he had thought about it well, what he could have said was, Nigeria, I want to provide help. This is what I want to do. What I'm ready to move in this if Nigeria will accept me. Be more diplomatic about it. And I bet if he had come from that angle, I don't think we'll have all this issue that just start has to, you know, protest and everything. And it's going to get worse. This is just one group coming out now, holding his, holding placards and say, we don't want it. Donald Trump, don't come to our country. There's nothing like genocide going on. Another group is going to come again. Maybe the next group will come up, will now be, no, the initial group lied. So back and forth. And like they say, one of the best ways to conquer people and keep them, make them remain conquered, right, is through divide and rule. And that's the order of it. That's how they were able to actually, you know, our colonizers in the past were able to colonize Nigeria. You know?
Let's now move to a major political twist. The Tinubu administration has been accused of funding mass defections into the APC. Reports allege that governors and lawmakers switching from the opposition are being offered staggering sums, about 250 billion naira for governors, 1 billion naira for senators, and 500 million naira for members of the House of Representatives. Now, this one is quite interesting. It's still along political lines. We'll take a look at some of the conversation on social media, reactions on social media, and see what Nigerians think about this situation with, the administration funding mass defections into the APC. I mean, as if it's not enough that they're already defecting on their own, but now funding it, it just goes back to what I said earlier about that craze to maintain that seat in power, 2027 elections and all of that. You wanted to say something?
I want to say that I will still draw a line under and name that line allegedly.
But we'll take a look at some of the reactions on social media. So I think somebody on social media, Eddie Joe, says, I knew there was something in it. The exodus, the campaign wasn't ordinary at all. The money they saved from subsidy removals are being shared amongst themselves. Those that should speak up won't talk about it because they don't want to face persecution. Do we have more reactions on this story? Nin FX Global says, imagine a country where joining a party pays more than serving the people. A whopping 250 billion naira to change parties. Zero accountability to change lives. Priorities perfectly upside down. The Apostle Tip says, and all we citizens asked for was adequate infrastructure, stable light, good security, and low cost of living on a daily basis. And it was hard for him to give us. Man, we need to voice out. This man must not rule us next election. I think it goes beyond being keypad warriors. It's about action, really. Reboot Nigeria says, 250 billion naira per governor, billions more for defectors while citizens starve. This isn't democracy, it's economic terrorism and political prostitution financed by stolen national wealth. Nigeria is bleeding. By the time the master strategist in corruption is done with Nigeria, even its carcass won't be found. And that's not even playing on words, that's just the reality right now. And yes, allegedly, it will now be up to the governor, but you know how they say there's no smoke without fire, so it will now be up to the federal government, you know, the presidency to come and then debunk this if it's true or not. But when you look at it, you know how these things are happening, you do see that there's an atom of truth in it. But yes, it's really up to the presidency to come say whether it's true or not, if they're funding or they're not funding these mass defections. Whatever the case is, I think that really there should be more priorities on the lives and security of the citizens as against trying to maintain a spot, because what use it is when you are sitting in a position where people are in experiencing the worst time of their lives.
So again, I mean, you said it all, but just to add a bit of flesh to it, I will say this: as much as, of course, there is no direct speech that will say from the presidency that will now say, oh, look, we did this. So again, it is, call it what it is, rumors, right? And because it is like you said, there's no smoke without fire. However, let's assume that money has not changed hands, or money will never change hands, and this amount of money is not being disbursed to anybody, to defect. The fact that we can have a sitting governor, or maybe former governor, or want to be governor, planning to defect simply means that, look, we have a ruthless, in other words, no basis at all, no foundation when it comes to political and party loyalty, which is the big problem. Meaning to say that people will rather, instead of following the values of a party, they will follow individuals. And that's where the danger is, because if an individual, right, acts like a chameleon, deceives the people, they will follow him or her. And so with that now, we have thousands of people, millions, being derailed at the same time. However, has money changed hands? We don't know, right? Was money given? We don't know. But it's there in the news, and people are saying that, yes, money changed hands, or money's going to change hands. Like rightly said, let the government come and debunk it and say, look, you guys in the media, you guys carry the right story, or those in the public have the wrong notion. And then if at all money was given, the money was given for different issues, not for governors to defect. But would we see more defection? Now that's a question for another day.
Well, we'll see about that, but this is where we will close the curtains here on the social listening segment, right here on the BDTV Breakfast Show. It was truly a delight spending the morning with you, and thank you for staying with us. Thank you, Mr. Birthday. Let's go and celebrate the birthday. Let's move on and celebrate. We're going to party or something.
Well, that's it.
Anyway, fingers crossed. Stay tuned to BDTV. There's so much more ahead.